some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
KGW's Evening News. Important stories to help you stay informed and keep your family safe.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pidawanich.
And I'm David Molko.
Weather impact alerts to help you plan your week.
We need to be extra careful with anything that can throw a spark.
And a team of local journalists connected to our community. David Molko, Christine Pidawanich, and Matt Zaffino. Your Evening News team. Tonight on KGW.
Now at 7, protest over controversial ICE tactics in the city of Angels is now popping up in the Rose City too. Thomas Schultz is live as protesters start to gather outside a local ICE facility. Plus,
It's for all Oregonians and anyone that wants to use it.
a new twist in the battle over Oswego Lake, who the judge says is on the hook for paying more than $1 million in court fees. And
Help, please!
music artist Macklemore's Washington home targeted in a home invasion. Look at the frightening moments that unfolded while his children were asleep inside. Sunrise streaming live at 7 starts right now. Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 7 o'clock, streaming right now. I'm China Green. We're going to head over to Chris McGinnis with a look at your weather and traffic and what you need to know.
A lot cooler today. That is the big headline. Although we keep the sunshine, Wells Fargo sky camera showing bright sunshine, some high thin overcast kind of veiling out that sun from time to time, and 55 last check at PDX. So for comparison, that minus 13 means it's 13 degrees cooler right now than it was 24 hours ago. And that is holding true up and down the I-5 corridor today. So the mid-90s, we'll replace that with low to mid-80s, I think, for daytime highs today. It's 53 right now in Beaverton. Hillsborough has slipped to 54, and as we go down to the south right now, Salem, one of the warmer spots at 61, Canby at 60, and Kaiser at 55. All right, the plan for today, plenty of sunshine, a little bit of a breeze popping up this afternoon, and daytime highs getting up to about 86. So cooler today. Cooler still for the remainder of our 7-day forecast. We'll look ahead to that in your Father's Day weekend coming up in just a few minutes. Let's get you out the door with a look at the roads. Photojournalist Chad Dehart manning the wheel of Drive 8. He is headed northbound over the Abernathy Bridge between Westland and Oregon City, and he's into that blinding sunrise as well. Traffic is zipping along okay on that side of town. Highway 26, tapping the brakes a little bit coming down the hill from the zoo into the tunnel. Right now, your drive in from Hillsborough, about 20 minutes. I do want to let folks know, driving northbound through Cowlitz County, WashDOT doing some road work today near Kalama River Road. One northbound lane will be blocked from 7 to 4:30, and that will create some delays as we bring you down into Clark County in that southbound commute. That's puttering along a little bit right now. In fact, the drive from Main Street down to the Fremont Bridge taking folks about 20 minutes at the moment. China?
Thank you, Chris. There are new developments in Los Angeles as protests over ICE raids continue into day 5. This was the scene last night after President Trump sent 700 Marines and another 2,000 National Guard members. Now, these protests started after ICE agents targeted day laborers at Home Depot, among other places. The president says the Marines are being sent to protect federal law enforcement officers and property in greater Los Angeles area. In the meantime, the FBI is looking for 40-year-old Elpidio Reyna after they say he threw rocks and created an improvised bonfire at a protest on Saturday, assaulting a federal officer, causing him to be placed on FBI's most wanted list. Reyna is also reportedly caught on video launching objects at passing federal vehicles. In a statement on X, the prosecutor for the Central District of California says a $50,000 reward is being offered for information that leads to his capture. Again, these are the scenes unfolding in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, the state of California is now suing the administration over the deployment of the National Guard. The city's mayor, Karen Bass, questioning why the president saw the need to send National Guard at all, saying that they're only guarding 2 federal buildings and says local leaders have things under control.
I don't think that our city should be used for an experiment to see what happens in the nation's second largest city. Well, maybe we can do this to other cities.
At least 56 people have been arrested so far in the LA protests. Meantime, demonstrators are outside the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in South Portland this morning. That's where we find Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz. Before we get to them, I just want to let our viewers at home know this is live TV. We have seen signs with some profanity on it. We'll do our best to keep that out of the shot. But again, this is live TV. We can't help if somebody gets through there. So Thomas, you're out there. What are you seeing?
Yeah, China, I mean, that's a good point to reiterate. That is something that we're going to be cognizant of here. But just to give viewers some scope of where we're at, we're along the south waterfront here. And we're going to walk a little bit into this protest. It's small right now, but it's key to remember these protesters have been out here overnight. Some are still sleeping. We're going to show you some of the tents where they're camping out in. And they tell us that they're going to be here, frankly, as long as it takes to get their protests and their message through. We've seen signs like this one, signs all over this area right next to the ICE facility. You can see right down here, there's some people still sleeping who are planning to be here and protesting all throughout the day. Now let's show you some footage of what those protests look like down in LA. So far, more than 50 people have been arrested in those massive protests against the immigration raids in LA. Again, obviously, we're starting to see those protests spread. Yesterday, union workers held protests outside the Oregon Convention Center in Northeast Portland. And once again, they're here early this morning at 7:05, this time outside the ICE facility along the south waterfront. Now, throughout these protests, Trump advisors say they're carrying out the president's hardline immigration agenda that was central to his campaign, adding that this is what America voted for. Though Oregon leaders are also weighing in. Portland Police Chief Bob Day has stressed his officers will not work with ICE agents, and Governor Tina Kotek adds that, in her opinion, there's no reason to deploy the Oregon National Guard.
We do not engage in immigration enforcement, and we have been in contact with several of our immigrant communities, even over the last 24 to 48 hours, to assure them of that.
We are taking care of our communities. If there is any activity that needs to be taken care of, it will be done by local law enforcement. And right now, all protests have been peaceful, and there's no reason to think that will be otherwise.
And that's something that Kotek has reiterated over the past couple of days. Protests have been peaceful. If there is violence, if there is destruction to property, she says that will be handled. Once again, let's show you just a little look at what we're seeing down here right outside this ICE facility on the south waterfront. You can see just a tent full of resources here. You have sunscreen, you have just all sorts of things. And right down here, there's food, there's water. Once again, there's tents. Protesters that we spoke to this morning say that they plan to be out here as long as it takes. Once again, they spent the night here in China. They say they're going to be here for as long until they get a decision that they are in favor of. China?
Thomas, thank you. In the meantime, Portland State University professor is under investigation after a video of them making controversial comments began spreading online. That video was recorded during a protest. In it, the professor says, quote, "I am Hamas. We are all Hamas." That's the extent of the context we have right now. But in response, PSU's president put out this statement saying the university is, quote, unequivocally against anti-Semitism, terrorism, and hate of any kind, including the statements made in the video. Portland State has put the professor on administrative leave while they investigate. Now, meantime, PSU is among several colleges being investigated by the Federal Department of Education over reports of anti-Semitism, many which sprung from last year's protests. The school says it's taken several steps this year to improve safety on campus while also protecting free speech. Now to the continuing search for Travis Decker, the man charged with killing his 3 young daughters. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office say that they have narrowed their search to the Ingalls Creek area west of Wenatchee. They say Decker is believed to potentially be in that area. The Sheriff's Office is warning residents locally close to that area to lock their homes and stay alert as law enforcement continue to search for Decker. In the meantime, people gathered for a benefit concert last night in Wenatchee to grieve the loss of those 3 young girls, Peyton, Olivia, and Evelyn, right there, and support their mother, Whitney Decker.
Yeah, music is magical, and it can do things that speech can't.
The 3 young girls were 9, 8, and 5 years old. Your time now is 7:08. Headed over to Chris McGinnis for a look at weather.
Bright and sunny out there and cooler. That is the big headline in the weather department today. We're going to take yesterday's highs and shave them down a good 6 to 8, maybe 10 degrees in some cases. Live over downtown Portland, the water just blinding here with the sunshine. There is a high, thin overcast out there, and 55 last check at PDX. Again, yesterday at this time we were already in the mid-60s, so we're cooler to start. 52 Beaverton and King City, 53 in Sherwood. Salem, one of the warmer spots in the valley right now at 61. And speaking of warm, while we're talking about cooler weather for the west side of the state, the East Gorge and Columbia Basin will still be hot, really hot today. There's a heat advisory from the Dalles out towards Pendleton. Pendleton right now waking up to 72 degrees. And again, there's that heat advisory for the East Gorge, including eastern Wasco County and out through the Columbia Basin through later this afternoon and this evening. Not only that, but the west breeze is really going to pick up, which does prompt some higher fire concerns across the Washington side of the Columbia River. Obviously, conditions are very, very dry here as well, so something to be mindful of. West winds whipping up 30 to 35 there. We will feel that west or northwest wind here in town today as well, on the order of about 15 to 20 later this afternoon. Visible satellite imagery showing the cloud cover creeping into the coast. As we get more light of day, it's kind of cool to see all the little nooks and crannies here in the Coast Range that are filling in with that low cloud deck. And then above, you see those high, thin clouds kind of filtering out the sunshine here in the Willamette Valley as well. We will filter down the temperatures just a bit. 94 yesterday, 96 on Sunday. How about mid to upper 80s today? So that should feel a little bit more comfortable in the I-5 corridor. As I mentioned, though, the East Gorge and specifically out in the Columbia Basin, that'll be a hot spot today with high temperatures once again up near 100 degrees. We continue stair-stepping downward here in Portland. 86 today, 81 tomorrow, and mid-70s heading into Thursday with a lot of outlying communities once you get outside the immediate metro area, waking up to overnight lows in the 40s. So really, really comfortable stuff after what's been a couple of hot days. Okay, let's get you out the door. There's a live look at the roads right now. We are taking you starting off down in Wilsonville, and there's your I-5 northbound commute. The direction this camera is facing is to the north, and we're still getting along okay on that side of town. Speaking of northbound I-5, I want to take you up into Cowlitz County. Near Kalama River Road, WashDOT doing some road maintenance today, and that means one lane closed from now until about 4:30 this afternoon. I don't see any local slowing around that just yet, but obviously know that that will create some slow spots later today. Farther south, of course, the drive building out of Clark County, your southbound I-5 commute, puttering along at about 10 miles an hour or so, getting you in from Vancouver. And a quick check over on the east side. I'll step out of the way. Photojournalist Chad DeHart's rolling along I-205, and so far no problems on that side of town. China?
Thank you, Chris. Still to come on Sunrise streaming at 7, a new development in the battle over Oswego Lake, who the judge says is on the hook for over $1 million in court fees. Plus, Seattle police on the hunt for the people they say broke into rapper McEnroe's home while his kids were sleeping inside. Don't go anywhere. Sunrise Live at 7 continues after this.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
KGW's Evening News. Important stories to help you stay informed and keep your family safe.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich.
And I'm David Molko.
Weather impact alerts to help you plan your week.
We need to be extra careful with anything that can throw a spark.
And a team of local journalists connected to our community. David Molko, Christine Pitawanich, and Matt Zaffino. Your Evening News team, tonight on KGW.
While Oswego Lake is open to outsiders for the first time in decades, the legal battle over access has one more twist. A judge has now ruled that those who tried to bar access to the lake should pay attorney's fees for the other side. Now we're talking more than $1.5 million here. Catherine Cook has the update.
New access to cool refreshment.
I feel like this is something that everybody should be able to enjoy.
It's what people like Michelle Karlebach are getting out of putting in at Oswego Lake.
It's not as far to get, over to these steps as it would be to get to the Tualatin or the Willamette from where you have access points there either.
This is only Michelle's second time using Oswego Lake since March. That's when a judge ruled that the public could access the lake at Millennium Plaza Park. It marked the end of a long-standing court battle brought on by co-plaintiff Todd Prager. He sued the city for public lake access back in 2012.
I've been really excited and happy to see all the use that it's been getting.
On Friday, more news for Prager to celebrate. A Clackamas County judge ordered the defendants in this case to pay more than $1.5 million in plaintiffs' attorney's fees since they argued in the public's interest and won.
I was really happy for our legal counsel. They've been doing this pro bono for the past 13 years, even spending over $200,000 of their own money on it for experts and court fees.
Per the judge's ruling, the Lake Corporation, which manages the lake, is on the hook for 45% of the fees. The state must pay 20%, and the city of Lake Oswego must pay 35%. In her ruling, the judge rejected the city's claim that it was a, quote, minor player in the case. KGW reached out to all three parties and is waiting for a response. The Lake Oswego Review first reported the story. In a statement, Lake Oswego Mayor Joe Buck told the paper, "I appreciate the judge's work to equitably discern between the multiple parties, interests, and issues, and the City Council will discuss the fee ruling in the near future with our legal counsel before taking any next steps." The park's private lake signs are gone now, and first-time users like the Rounton family are here.
So we were really grateful for the tip that we could come and enter the lake and paddle around, and it was gorgeous.
Access to Oswego Lake will actually improve in about a month. The city has until early July to remove these boulders and metal sculptures as part of the ruling.
The spiky plants aren't the most inviting.
In the meantime, Prager offers this invitation to Oswego Lake.
It's for all Oregonians and anyone that wants to use it according to the park rules that are put in place.
In Lake Oswego, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Cooling Portland is giving out free air conditioning units to low-income Portlanders and those who are most vulnerable to extreme heat. Cooling Portland was created in response to the deadly 2021 heat dome. The program prioritizes seniors, people with disabilities, and folks more at risk for heat-related illnesses. You can check your eligibility and apply for a free AC unit by either calling 311 or visiting the City of Portland's website. Sign-ups are available year-round, so you can apply no matter the season, though I feel like many people were thinking about AC yesterday with how hot it got out.
Yeah, record heat on Sunday, near record heat yesterday. We started off yesterday at 64, which is a record warm minimal. Yeah, normal low this time of the year is in the low to mid 50s. So we started off on that springboard, that launching pad. But here's the deal. That's gone. And not only is that gone, here's the temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, which goes beyond the range of our 7-day forecast. This is days 10 through 14, so going out towards the first couple of days of summer, June 23rd. And you'll note here the orange colors represent above average temperatures, the blue colors near the Olympic Peninsula representing below average temperatures, and we're kind of in between, meaning there's no real hedge one way or the other. In other words, no high heat in the forecast over the next 7 to 10 days. So after what we had this weekend, that's out of here, right? And to back that up, here's Futurecast. Tracking the upper level pattern here, the blues and the greens represent the cooler colors and the cooler air masses. The reds represent higher heights in the atmosphere, higher temperatures. And you'll notice that heat is squashed off to the east. Low pressure actually sets up out over the northeast Pacific. It's close enough to give us a cooling influence, but I think far enough away that I don't know that there's a legit rain chance in our forecast until maybe Monday, Tuesday of next week, and that's iffy. So stay tuned on that. But the point is we don't have any heat in the forecast for the west side of the state over the next couple of days. East side of the state, today's still going to be pretty warm for you. And I wanted to point out there's also a risk for some thunderstorms across south central and southeastern Oregon today. While most of us enjoy sunshine, late this afternoon, this is at 6:30, Futurecast does pop some storms south the Bend and east out towards the Burns area and heading out towards the Idaho border. So therein lies at least the slight chance of some thunderstorms today. Again, far off to our south and east in the northwest corner of the state, we're focused on the much, much cooler temperatures. That's what this map is, the 24-hour temperature change. We're a whole 8 to 12 to 13 degrees cooler right now than we were yesterday at this time. 55 last check, by the way, at PDX. And elsewhere across the region, it's 53 in Beaverton, Sherwood waking up to 55. Still quite warm across the east part of the state, though. The Dalles at 70, and we're in the upper 60s and low 70s out across the Columbia Basin, where once again, we've been mentioning that area is still under a heat advisory for one more day of some pretty high heat. Arlington, for instance, may get up to near 100 degrees again this afternoon. Today in Portland, I've got us at 86, above average, but not as hot as yesterday. And we continue with that stair-stepping down in the temperature department here. 81 tomorrow, 70s on Thursday and Friday. And how about that? For Father's Day weekend, at this point, it looks dry, it looks comfortable, lows in the upper 40s to low 50s, highs in the low to mid 70s. That is perfect for Dad. You're welcome. All right, let's get you out the door. Here's a live look at the roads right now. Interstate 84, the Banfield out near Providence Medical Center. Getting a little bit busy on that side of town as we are here at the Sylvan Hill. The sun is right in the driver's eye as those drivers crest up over 217 towards Skyline Boulevard. So that might be adding to some of the local slowing, but these drive times are not too bad. 22 minutes right now gets you in from Brookwood Parkway. There's your I-5 drive southbound through North Portland. That's probably our slowest commute right now, 25 minutes or so to get you in from Main Street. I do want to let folks know about this later this week, specifically overnight Thursdays. So we're talking midnight to about 4 a.m. Friday morning. There will be a closure of I-5, both directions in the Rose Quarter, as there's some utility work being done overhead. So the detour is going to be the long way around I-405. That'll add a few minutes to your overnight commute for those of you out on the roads very late Thursday night or in the wee hours of Friday morning. China.
Thank you, Chris.
Help, please!
A nanny's cry for help after rapper Macklemore's Washington home became the target of a home invasion. Sunrise streaming at 7 continues in just 2 minutes.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We do want to tell you about some breaking news that we're covering this morning.
Police are asking some people to stay inside their homes.
For the past few hours, we've watched officers coming and going.
Flames blowing in this wind that's been gusting all morning long.
There are level 3 go now evacuation orders in place.
New information that we just got from Portland police.
There is no danger to the public. We'll keep you updated as we learn more.
Stream extended coverage right here on KGW Plus.
Now to your morning rush. Climate change activist Greta Thunberg was deported from Israel this morning after Israeli forces seized her ship carrying aid for Gaza. Yesterday, Israeli forces detained Thunberg and other protesters when their ship attempted to pass a blockade. The British flagged the ship set sail from Italy a week ago and was sent as a protest to Israel's blockade of Gaza. Powerful storms moved through Texas over the weekend, causing significant damage to the town of Big Spring, prompting the city's mayor to issue a local disaster declaration. The storm produced damaging wind gusts of up to 119 miles per hour and baseball-sized hail. The storm also knocked down trees onto a church and a playground. Fortunately, no injuries were reported there. And Disney will pay nearly $440 million to buy NBC Universal's remaining stake in Hulu. Disney acquired most of the streaming service in 2019 when it took over Fox's entertainment assets. Disney CEO Bob Iger says that securing the rest of Hulu clears the way for integration with ESPN and Disney+. And that's a look at your morning rush. Seattle police are looking for the people who broke into the home of Grammy-winning rap star Macklemore in a targeted home invasion. The frightening moments unfolded while his children and their nanny were inside. Christian Balderas with our sister station Seattle has the latest.
We're outside the gated property for music artist Macklemore, who just this past weekend had his home burglarized. According to the police report, the nanny was here at the time and she fled into the neighborhood, banging on doors, pleading for help as 3 kids were still inside. People in this Capitol Hill neighborhood were woken to loud banging.
Help, please!
As a woman went to numerous doors pleading for help. That person is the nanny for Macklemore's children. She was watching 3 kids at his gated property when 2 men broke in demanding jewels. The police report states one of the men sprayed her with cans of bear mace and put a boot on her ankle before moving to the back of her neck. The nanny eventually escaped, biting his hand, and fled into the neighborhood, eventually finding safety at a neighbor's.
Help, please!
The police report goes on to say the nanny showed signs of a traumatic experience, making it difficult for her to communicate, but said she believed the crime may have been politically motivated. When investigators checked the home, the place was in disarray and the men had already left, but the children were found safe. We reached out to a representative for Macklemore but did not hear back. The artist was scheduled to be in Frankfurt, Germany, performing at a music festival just one day after this break-in happened. At this point, we do not know whether he ultimately took to the stage.
Coming up in our next half hour, the latest on the 12 people hurt during a stabbing at a Salem shelter. Plus,
I would like to hear our legislators say that they're willing to fight tooth and nail for public education.
parents across Oregon step away from work and marching into the state capitol. Why do state legislators need to do more for public schools? Plus, Thomas Schultz is live outside a Portland ICE facility where demonstrators are gathering right now to protest the ongoing raids. Sunrise streaming at 7 continues right after this.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We do want to tell you about some breaking news that we're covering this morning.
Police are asking some people to stay inside their homes.
For the past few hours, we've watched officers coming and going.
Flames blowing in this wind that's been gusting all morning long.
There are level 3 go now evacuation orders in place.
New information that we just got from Portland police.
There is no danger to the public. We'll keep you updated as we learn more.
Stream extended coverage right here on KGW+.
We are coming up on 7:29 on a Tuesday morning drive that's busy but moving. That's I-5 from Wilsonville. Traffic still moving along okay northbound. The inbound Sunset, all three lanes staring at the sunrise coming up over the Sylvan Hills. So that's adding to some of your local slowing. We're approaching 30 minutes now to get you in from Hillsborough on the Highway 26 commute. There's a live look right now at I-5 up near Jansen Beach. That drive also slowing down now. Almost 30 minutes to get you in from Main Street. By the way, heads up in Cowlitz County starting this morning and through later this afternoon. ODOT doing some maintenance on I-5 northbound near Kalama River Road. One lane will be blocked through 4:30, and that will create some local congestion as you head northbound there. All right, back to Spidey Cam. This is a live look from our Wells Fargo sky camera. Just there he goes. There goes the spider. We are mostly clear over downtown Portland. 55 last check. Temperature-wise across the region, cooler to start the day. It's 54 in Hillsborough. It's 61 right now in Salem. The plan for today, temperatures in the mid-80s instead of the mid-90s. That cooling trend continues for the rest of the week.
We start your 7:30 half hour. Something really cute. Oregon Zoo posted this video to Instagram of a bear taking a dip in the tub. I think he was probably trying to cool off.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah, because we saw some high temps in the mid-90s yesterday, so I feel like many of us were just trying to cool off. We didn't hit any records yesterday.
Yes,
Sunday we did.
Sunday 96, yesterday 94, which was one off the record. We did start yesterday morning at 64, which is a record warm minimum, as in a record warm overnight low.
Pretty warm, yeah.
Yeah, started the day at 64. Today we are much cooler out the door. The live look right now from our Wells Fargo sky camera showing Spidey. There he is. We'll cover him up because nobody wants to look at that while they're eating breakfast. 55 last check at PDX. It's 56 in Beaverton. Good morning to you folks in Happy Valley. That thermometer, by the way, up on the top of Mount Scott near 1,000 feet, 53 degrees there. And Camas, good morning to you folks as well at 56. Down in the valley we go, McMinnville 53. Salem, one of the warmer spots. Don't know about that Silverton temperature. That seems to be an outlier. But 61 in Salem and 57 last check in Kaiser. All right, the plan for today, after a couple of days in the mid-90s, we cool it down a good 8 to 10 degrees. Portland will be in the mid-70s at lunchtime. The breeze picks up. That'll feel pretty nice. Northwest winds later today, 10 to 20. And a daytime high right around 86. So a whole 8 degrees cooler than yesterday. Happy to bring that cool down. That trend will continue as we go into the remainder of the week. And we'll look at that with the 7-day forecast in just a minute. All right, this graphic, I'm happy to say that it doesn't show any northbound slowing, but eventually we think it will. Up in Cowlitz County, northbound I-5, washed out doing some road maintenance near Kalama River Road. And throughout the day today, one northbound lane will be blocked. So do expect some delays on that side of town. Right now, the freeway drive, here's Interstate 84, the Banfield westbound near Providence Medical Center there over on the left-hand side of your screen. It's slow and go coming in from the Gateway District. Not that that's all that unusual. And of course, the drive in from the Sylvan Hill. Of course, all three lanes of Highway 26, a little heavy coming up over the Sylvan Hill. One of the other pinch points, not in Wilsonville per se, but always northbound getting into Wilsonville. This is a snapshot near, that's Wilsonville Road. But you see the orange and the red leading up to it, getting up over the Boone Bridge. We're 30 miles an hour at Wilsonville, and then speeds are slower back towards the Arndt Road area. So obviously, you'll need a few extra minutes to get across the Boone Bridge. But so far, no major freeway trouble out there. China?
Thank you, Chris. Your time now is 7:32, and this morning demonstrators are gathering outside the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in South Portland. Now, we do want to warn you that some of the signs and stuff you may see here may have profanities, so viewer discretion is advised here. This is live TV, but Thomas Schultz is live there right now. So, Thomas, what can you tell us?
Yeah, well, China, just to give people a scope of where we're at, we're on the ice facility on the south waterfront here, and that's a good point you just mentioned. We're going to try to avoid those signs as much as we can, but let's walk down here and show you a little bit of what we're seeing. Obviously, a lot of signage, a lot of chalk as well, but people have been here all throughout the night, spending the night camping down here for this protest. We've spoken to protesters who some have been here overnight, and they plan to be here as long as they say it takes to accomplish their goals. Let's give you a little snippet of what one of us told us a few minutes ago.
A lot of the deportations that are happening are like grandmas, grandpas, moms, and dads and kids that are being deported, all without due process as well. And that's just really unfair.
Now, of course, we've seen big immigration protests due to these immigration raids down in LA, and over the past few days that has spread here in Portland. Watch out, we got a bicyclist right behind us. We saw that spread over to the Oregon Convention Center yesterday. Now, throughout all of these protests, the Trump administration, Trump advisors have said that they are accomplishing the president's goals, and they're carrying out that hardline immigration agenda that was central to his campaign, adding that this is what America voted for. Oregon leaders are now also weighing in, with Portland Police Chief Bob Day stressing that his officers will not work with ICE agents. Governor Tina Kotek also adding that she sees no reason for deployment of the Oregon National Guard.
We do not engage in immigration enforcement, and we have been in contact with several of our immigrant communities even over the last 24 to 48 hours to assure them of that.
We are taking care of our communities. If there is any activity that needs to be taken care of, it will be done by local law enforcement. And right now, all protests have been peaceful, and there's no reason to think that will be otherwise.
And that's a key point here from Governor Tina Kotek. She says that if there is violence, if there is damage or destruction, that is something they will not tolerate. But peaceful protests are different. That's something that Portland police are also keeping an eye out on. Here, we've seen people come in and out of the ICE facility this morning, so those gates are not blocked. But let's walk down here, show us a little bit of what we're seeing out here. Obviously, you can see people still sleeping, camping here overnight. But let's show you some of the supplies that have also been accrued. These are just things like underwear, sunscreen, N95 masks that are all here for protesters. And if we go down here just a bit past these tents as well, you can see all sorts of food supplies down here. Things like bread and crackers and different Nutrigrain bars all have been accumulated in preparation for these protests in China. Once again, demonstrators telling us this morning that they will be here as long as it takes to accomplish their goals. Jenna.
Thomas, thank you. Portland police are asking for your help finding this man, so take a good look at your screen. Police say 66-year-old William Fregassi, right there, also known as Bill, left his care facility Sunday morning and hasn't returned. He was last seen near Northeast MLK and Russet Street. Bill uses a wheelchair and has significant health concerns. If you see him, call 911. Portland fire investigators say that they want to talk to a person of interest they think may have information about this fire that happened Sunday night at a home in the Humboldt neighborhood. So witnesses reported seeing a man wearing a light colored shirt, shorts, and baseball cap sitting in a parked two-door black convertible across from the house that caught fire. Now, police say he was sitting there for about 30 minutes. Investigators have no reason to believe that they were involved in the fire, but say they are essential witnesses here. So if you have any information, contact that number there on your screen. That is 503-823-INFO. In the Dalles, a 3-year-old drowned in the Columbia River. Their family was staying at a hotel nearby, and authorities say the toddler was able to get out of the room Saturday morning. The 3-year-old was reported missing, and within minutes, multiple agencies began searching. The body was found in the river near the shoreline. And an update from local authorities. All of the people who were stabbed at a Salem shelter a week ago are expected to survive. They also say 4 of the 12 people injured remain in the hospital. The suspect, 42-year-old Tony Williams, right there, who was arrested, faces several counts of assault and 1 count of attempted murder. This morning, we're getting a look at the new temporary platform at Northeast 82nd Avenue Max Station. The platform is aimed at keeping Max riders moving during the station's months-long renovation. Riders will now have to use a temporary set of stairs on the west side of 82nd Avenue to go between trains and the street. The elevator remains free and open to the public. Your time now is 7:37. Headed over to Chris McGinnis for a look at weather.
Cooler. That is the big screaming headline today for the west side of Oregon and Washington, and spider alert too. That guy continues. He's been doing that all week so far, spinning his web here over the Wells Fargo Sky Camera. It is 55. Last check at PDX. I did want to point out across south central Oregon, there is at least the slight threat of an afternoon shower or thunder shower. Real quick, here's a look at Futurecast south of Bend and out towards Burns and getting out towards the Idaho border. Futurecast does pop some storms out in that corner of the state. The rest of us high and dry and cooler for northwest Oregon and southwest Washington. 13 degrees cooler right now in Scappoose at 51 than you were 24 hours ago. It's 57 now in Sherwood. Salem's checking in with 61. Still quite warm though out across the East Gorge and the Columbia Basin. There's a heat advisory there in effect throughout the day today. So one more day of some really hot temperatures for you folks. Not necessarily the Dalles. I mean, the 94 was warming up, but you get out towards Arlington, Hermiston, those areas could be up near the century mark this afternoon. Central Oregon's also expected to be quite warm with, again, that slight chance of a storm generally in south central Oregon and eastern Oregon. Burns gets up to about 87, LeGrand 83 this afternoon. The beach, morning clouds, afternoon clearing with a good deal of sunshine for you late in the day, highs in the low 60s. That's pretty comfortable stuff. And up and down the I-5 corridor, once again, the trend here is not as hot. I'd say warm, but not as hot with mid to upper 80s. Corvallis about 85, 88 in Salem today. And our 7-day forecast shows I've got Portland at about 86. So good 8 degrees cooler than yesterday. 81 for Wednesday. And then that cooling trend continues into Thursday, Friday, and the upcoming Father's Day weekend. Highs in the mid 70s, lows in the upper 40s. You're welcome. Everyone out there celebrating and doing some barbecuing this weekend. That looks really good. All right, let's get you out the door. A live look at the roads in Clark County. We send photojournalist Chad Dehart and Drive 8 to go get stuck in traffic so you don't have to. This is the live look right now rolling out of Clark County where the drive has jumped up to 30 minutes now to get in from Main Street down to the Fremont Bridge. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, the trip from Wilsonville, again, slow and steady north of the Boone Bridge. That trip coming in from Wilsonville now is about 32 minutes. On I-5 and Highway 26 and Interstate 84, of course, slow getting into town as well. One reminder, a little bit later on this week, actually Thursday night, there's an overnight closure of I-5 in the Rose Quarter. This is both directions. There's going to be some overhead utility work on I-5, so that necessitates the closing of the freeway. And for that, anyone on the roads late Thursday night, 11 p.m. until 4 a.m. on Friday, you'll be detoured over the Fremont Bridge and I-405. China?
Thank you, Chris. Every year, parents across Oregon step away from work and into the state capitol to demand more support for public schools. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz followed a group from Portland to Salem as they pushed lawmakers to invest in students and the classrooms.
Hi. Good morning.
It's early.
Hi.
Before 8 in the morning, when we caught up with a group of parents and students in late April.
I'm Maya, this is Mike, Ben, Margot, and Kara.
All ready to hop in a car and drive an hour south.
We are headed to Salem for our parent lobby day.
And on a Wednesday morning, they're taking time off work to ask for more money for public education.
So we'll see who shows up.
Maya Pueyo Von Geldern has a son in Portland Public Schools.
How long have you been focused on this?
I don't know. I have a son in 7th grade now, so about 8 years advocating for funding for schools.
For years, families have sounded the alarm about the lack of school funding. Parents say classrooms are overcrowded, school buildings need renovations, and kids aren't getting the mental health support they need.
Every district has a different experience in all of this.
The legislature has given record amounts of money to school districts recently, though parents say it's still not enough to adequately fund schools.
We have to be loud.
Driving south on I-5, Pueyo Von Geldern focuses on stepping stones.
I would like to hear our legislators say that they're willing to fight tooth and nail for public education. That's the Capitol.
Once we arrive, there are more than 100 parents and students from around the state gathered at the Oregon Department of Education.
The lack of funding is reflected in our academic outcomes.
Teachers are losing their jobs and the arts are getting cut.
So we know what's going on and our schools are underfunded.
Tucked away in the basement of the Department of Education, parents review talking points to prepare for meetings with legislators before filing out and marching into the Capitol. All the way to Senate chambers.
Do we know where we're going?
Broadman,
Campos.
where swarms of parents
Frederick. Gelser-Bluen.
make their case
We just need more support in the classroom.
for a brighter future.
Our voice matters. We're the ones on the ground.
In Salem,
You wish to close.
Thomas Schultz, KGW
The clerk
News.
will please read the next bill.
And we are just a couple of weeks away from knowing if those asks will be met. The legislature will adopt its state budget for the next 2 years later this month.
This can allow a child to be a child.
Still to come on Sunrise, a look inside a much-needed treatment center to help the state's most vulnerable kids. Sunrise streaming at 7 continues in just 2 minutes.
Hey, I'm Blair Best, and tonight at 6:30 on The Story, a controversial photo is circling in the city of Longview, Washington. Here it is, 2 elected leaders pitching a tent in a city park that's often overrun by homelessness, why some say it's mocking those living on the streets, why the mayor tells me it's satire. Watch The Story tonight, live at 6:30 on KGW, or anytime on our TV app, KGW+. Have a great morning, and I'll see you tonight.
KGW's Evening News. Important stories to help you stay informed and keep your family safe.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich.
And I'm David Molko.
Weather impact alerts to help you plan your week.
We need to be extra careful with anything that can throw a spark.
And a team of local journalists connected to our community. David Molko, Christine Pitawanich, and Matt Zaffino. Your Evening News team. Tonight on KGW.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
A new treatment center is opening to serve kids in the foster system and the juvenile justice system, as well as kids needing mental health or drug and alcohol treatment. Libby Dowsett gives us a look.
Down a curved wooded road, the new buildings at Parrot Creek Youth Residential Treatment Campus shine in the sun.
I actually had to stop at the top of the hill for a second because it kind of brought back a lot of emotions, feelings, back to when I was a youth.
Travis Taylor lived here for 6 months when he was 15 and in the juvenile justice system.
It was 4 of us crammed into one little room that was cinder blocks. You know, it kind of felt like a jail almost.
Now returning 23 years later as a drug and alcohol counselor for Parrot Creek. Travis says it's all different.
It feels more like home. They have their own space to be able to manage themselves and what's really going on in their lives.
This is the example of one of our residence halls.
Staff says the kids at Parrot Creek will now have their own rooms that look out at the 80 acres of space to roam. Natural light flooding in.
This can allow a child to be a child.
The meadow will give way to a new ball field and basketball court. Walking paths now lead toward a new fire pit where the view stretches for miles.
And we have a lack of appropriate places and facilities for these youth to go to stabilize, to learn new skills, as you may have heard from Travis, in really understanding themselves and their behaviors and what's occurring for them and how they can cope and thrive in life.
One building will house youth in foster care, another kids struggling with mental health and substance use disorder, another kids in the justice system.
You will have kids who are in foster care who end up in the juvenile system for no fault of their own other than there aren't appropriate places. You have teenagers struggling with addiction issues who can't find care and treatment in Oregon, whose families send them out of state.
Grad students from Harvard and the University of Oregon teamed up with youth in the program to brainstorm design ideas for the campus. Access to nature was top of the list.
The kids time and time again said they love to be sitting out here watching the sunset. Helps them think and dream and sort of know that they're just like any other kid that gets to be outdoors, watching a sunset happen in the woods.
Travis says he wants nothing more than to help kids avoid some of the hardships he's experienced.
To be able to share my story with them, to be able to be the opportunity for the person that they can come to and confide in and talk about the real raw traumas that they're experiencing. And then somebody that also truly actually understands because I lived it.
Libby Dowsett, KGW News.
The boys are expected to move in at the end of August. The Parrot Creek program also expected to help girls in the future. Senators in Oregon have secured nearly $3 million in federal funding for the program. Hey, we want to let you know that KGW is teaming up with Safeway and Albertsons again this year to bag summer hunger. When schools close for the summer, students lose access to daily meals, and that puts some local kids at risk of food insecurity. But you can make a difference by donating cash or purchasing a pre-filled bag of groceries at Safeway and Albertsons stores. All donations go directly to families in need. To learn more, check out bagsummerhunger.com or kgw.com. Your time now, 7:49 on your Tuesday. Yesterday was hot. Today, it's not.
It's nice. I hear what you did there. And it's going to be even cooler as we go into the 7-day forecast. So let's talk about that. That is our lead graphic. Those minus signs, no, it's not minus 13 degrees in Scappoose, but what it is 13 degrees cooler right now than it was yesterday. Same story in Portland, where the current temperature at the airport is 55 degrees under a mostly clear sky. By the way, that trend looks to continue over the next 7 to 10 days. This is the outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, which skews towards either average or maybe even slightly below average temperatures here June 17th through the 23rd. So this is, again, beyond the range of our 7-day forecast and into the first couple of days of summer. So after some summer-like heat, we're getting a little reprieve. In fact, our air mass tracker here by Thursday and Friday shows cool low pressure sitting over the Northeast Pacific. And it'll kind of sit and spin there over the next couple of days. It's close enough that it keeps us under its influence with cooler weather, but I think far enough away that any shower threat is probably held off until very late in our 7-day forecast, and you'll see that in a second. And shower threats that far off in a 7-day forecast this time of the year, can disappear quickly, right? All right. In the near term, we do have a thunderstorm threat for south central and eastern Oregon today. Here's a look at Futurecast. Most of us dry south of Bend and out towards the Burns area. Futurecast does pop some showers and maybe a rumble of thunder there later today. And of course, with the very dry fuels, lightning is a potential fire starter. So something obviously to be slightly aware of over the next 24 hours here. As we mentioned, it's 55 at PDX. Still very warm across the East Gorge and the Columbia Basin, where a heat advisory is in effect again today. Pendleton right now sits at 72. Temperatures in that part of the state may very well get back up to triple digits later today. All right, with a light of day, visible satellite imagery now showing we're kind of socked in with some low clouds and fog at the beach. You can see kind of follow the higher terrain of the Coast Range here with the way the clouds have kind of banked up against the Coast Range, even trying to get a little marine push here up the mouth of the Columbia towards Rainier and the Longview area, but not any of that really making its way into Portland right now. We just have some high overcast pushing above us right now. All right, mid-80s is what Futurecast pegs for the day today in the Willamette Valley, mid-60s at the coast, and as I mentioned, getting out into the Columbia Basin, this is where the really hot stuff remains. Arlington getting up near triple digits, same story in Bend. Central Oregon well into the 90s as well. One more day of some hot temperatures for you folks, and then you too will feel a cool down, and that cool down continues across the west side of the state over the next several days. Stair-stepping it down to 81, maybe tomorrow, maybe only 76 on Thursday. Friday, clouds to sun, some really comfortable stuff setting up shop here as we go into Father's Day weekend. So no signs of any repeat of the heat anytime soon. All right, let's get you out the door with a live look at the roads. We start off with photojournalist Chad Dehart heading southbound through North Portland. He's doing it. I wouldn't, not right now, but if you have to. It is busy. It's moving along a little bit better now than it was a few minutes ago, but still 33 minutes the drive time to get you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Here's the live look down in Wilsonville. Traffic moving along okay there as well. The drive coming in from Troutdale is up to about 31 minutes on I-84 westbound. And a reminder, utility work overnight Thursday night into Friday morning. This impacts anyone who's on the roads late Thursday night through 4 o'clock Friday. I-5 will be closed both directions in the Rose Quarter. So your detour around that's going to be I-405 and the Fremont Bridge. China?
Thank you, Chris. Oh, do we have some birthdays to celebrate today? Starting with Caleb, turning 3. Happy birthday, Caleb. We have Yossi turning 3. Look at those dimples. Followed by Max turning 6 with those cool kicks. Then we have Ryan at 8 years old. And then last but not least, Stella turning 11. Happy birthday, you youngins. Hey, if you have a birthday shout out that you want us to share on air, send us an email to birthdays@kgw.com. We'll be right back.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Police are asking some people to stay inside their homes.
We've watched officers coming and going.
Flames blowing in this wind.
There is no danger to the public. We'll keep you updated.
Stream extended coverage right here on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
All right, there's your 70 forecast. Not as hot. After 2 days in the 90s, China was complaining. No, she was celebrating that.
Celebrating.
But other folks were complaining, so we're trying to split the difference and go with 86 today, 81 tomorrow. And heading into the weekend, we keep it dry and quite comfortable. Let's get you out the door with a look at the roads. We are busy, but moving. There's I-5 from Wilsonville right now. Your northbound commute gets you about 36 minutes. So that is an uptick in the last little bit now. 36 minutes to get you in from Wilsonville Road, Highway 26. The sunset into the sunrise, 30 minutes your drive. Yeah, we should call it the Sunrise Freeway because as you're coming in at the Sylvan Hill, the sun is like right in your face.
That's tough.
Sunshine slowdowns.
This Sunday is Father's Day, and to celebrate, why not head over to the Clark County Father's Day Car Show. It's happening this Sunday in North Parking Lot of the Vancouver Mall. It's happening from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There will be music, food, raffles, and of course, a lot of cars. Admission is free for all spectators that go. Any plans for Father's Day yet?
We're actually going to be traveling. We're starting an epic long vacation involving getting our kids to a real sandy beach for the first time in their lives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, but does anything scream Father's Day more than classic cars?
That has my dad written all over it.
Yeah,
we
need to get Daddy Green up here for a little trip to Clark County.
He would love it. I'd have to peel him away from that. Hey, just a reminder, you can watch sunrise every day live here exclusively on KGW Plus at 7 o'clock. I think you know that because you're here right now, but in case you didn't think we're 5 days a week, we're 5 days a week. Hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a fantastic day.